Pranam, Namaskar. Uh, we are Rangasena. So, in this lockdown, we all are in our homes. We are segregated. That's right. This is the time to connect with the rest of the world, regards of world pandemic, Mother Earth, human rights, cultural harmony, as well as world peace. We are voting about it. What about you? We are organizing 5th Rangoutsab 2021 to 22. In phase one, we are celebrating second International Theatre Festival, but in online. It will run from 30 May from today to 5th June 2021. Every day, directors meet will be happen on Facebook at 19 hours, according to IST India, and 13:30 hours by GMT UK. And premiere shows will be every day on YouTube at 20 hours according to IST India and 14:30 hours by GMT in UK. So today we organize an inauguration ceremony and we are very pleased and glad that we have several guests from different parts of the world. I just want to introduce with you our viewers. First, I would like to welcome our principal chief guest, Sri Marco Luly, director at Luly dell'Arte Rome, Italy. Second, our special chief guest, Srimati Justyna Krukowska, president and Just Body Lab, Krukowski, World Club Poland. Welcome you. And we are very lucky that we have get another important and eminent personality from India. He is our main chief guest. I welcome to Sri Probir Guha, director of Alternative Living Theatre, Moderator, Kolkata, West Bengal, India. And among us, also our eminent chief guest, Sri Thosaddeque Hossain Manna, International Secretary of Central Committee, Bangladesh, Dhaka, Bangladesh. We are still waiting for another our special guest, Srimati Irena Borges. She is stuck for some networking problem. So let's begin this inauguration ceremony, and with your all permission, we are started. So first, we would request our president of Noihati Rangasena, Sri Debabrata Ghosh. He is the eminent playwright and Jatra Shilpi also, Jatra artist. He will give you the welcome speech. Here it is.
Namaskar. It is immense pleasure and happiness. I am here to welcome all of you in the August gathering of Second International Theatre Festival organized by Rangasena, India. We are still bound in the protocol of COVID-19, maintaining physical distancing, but there is no harm to connect socially, especially with such a wonderful, magical form of performing art theatre. In our opinion, theatre cleanses, purifies the environment, clears the negative energy of the mankind, and makes the mind and soul peaceful. Without keeping all the viewers waiting much more, we welcome all the guests in the International Online Theatre Festival. We have with us Principal Chief Guest Sri Marco Luly from Italy. He is the Director Luly dell'Arte Rome, Italy. On behalf of Rangasena, India, we welcome you, sir. It is a pleasure to have with us special chief guest, Srimati Justyna Jan Krukowska. She is the president of Just Body Lab Bozepol, Królewska, Warkolo, Poland. We welcome you, madam, in this August Theatre Festival. We have with us main chief guest Sri Probir Guha. He is the eminent theatre personality of India, director of Alternative Living Theatre, Moddam Gram. We welcome you, sir, in the theatre festival. It is our real pleasure to welcome eminent chief guest Sri Thosaddeque Hossain Manna, International Secretary, Central Committee, Bangladesh Pathanatok Porishad. Thank you very much, sir, for your gracious presence. We also have with us Srimati Irena Borges, special guest, Director Artística de Espacio Tritel Albada at Centro de Teatro de La Habana, Cuba. We welcome Madam in this second International Theatre Festival. To go ahead with such wisdom, we know that everybody is waiting curiously to watch various theatrical performances from Bangladesh Shopnodal, Noihati Rangasena, India, Liberacanti Teatro Italy, New Star Drama Group, Kenya, Mass Foundation, Pakistan, Proyecto Icaro, Paraguay, and Noite, Bohemia, Spain. We welcome all the group theatres in this online theatre festival. The impressive presence of all personalities and group theatres in the inauguration program will definitely bless the occasion and make the festival a great and grand success. Namaskar.
Okay. Thank you, the Honorable Ghosh. With the kind permission of all the invited chief guests, I would like to request Srimati Kakuli Bhomik to lighten up the lamp for the replica inauguration of the festival. Thank you. Thank you, Srimati Kakuli Bhomik, and all our team members to support us. Now we come to our principal chief guest, Sri Marco Luly. He is the eminent theatre activist from Italy, and he also the director at Lavori dell'Arte, Rome, Italy. I would like to request Sri Luly to say a few words about our festival, and rather than I would request him to deliver his memorial speech on world theatre and global pandemic. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Very good. So, hello everybody from Rome, Italy. I'm an actor and director. My theater is the ancient form of theater, which is called Commedia dell'arte. It's a traditional form of theater that uses mask. You can see my mask behind me, my leather mask. It uses improvisation, uses relation with the audience, and many other issues. I travel the world. I used to travel the world with my theater, with my workshops before the pandemic. So I've been asked to give a little short speech about this issue, which is a problem for all of us. So we all have experienced the same event all over the world. The global pandemic, in fact, has resulted a sudden change in our lives without giving us time to understand, to change, and what was happening before our eyes. All businesses around the world have undergone drastic changes, and theater, perhaps, has undergone the greatest impact, because suddenly what had always been the meaning of this art, I'm talking of connection, exchange, presence, relationship, has disappeared overnight. Never in the history of mankind had we experienced such a shocking moment. And initially, the theater has been hit in a dramatic way. But as always, we have found new ways to overcome difficulties, and what seemed impossible has become reality. We use what we have available, and I'm talking of technology, apparently far from the theatrical ritual, and have put the technology at the service of our art by recreating emotional exchange, sharing, nourishment that we all need. It seems impossible to be able to organize international festivals like this, theater courses, lectures, conferences, and so on. But we have used the power of the camera, the beauty and strength of the voice, to achieve that sharing that we usually create on stage. It was a challenge that we managed to win precisely because we need to express oneself can never be stopped by a pandemic. It was a circle of power, of energy that we were able to create all together and that went through the world. We, theater people, are the holders and the defenders of the expressive word. Even if at the beginning of the pandemic we thought that the end was near, we then have understood that this will never happen because the theater is part of us, women and men, and we always walk with us. We always walk with us in every possible form and evolution. So let me wish the best luck to this festival with a strong wish to maybe meet again all together next year and share experiences and hugs. Why not? Thank you for having been with me, and I will be following the festival over the next days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's really a great moment that share his views with us. We are very lucky enough. Next, we will like to request our special chief guest, Srimati Justyna Krukowska, President and Just Body Lab, Bojpol Crossley of Cloud, Holland, to share her views with us about the 5th Rangoutsab 2021, and also we would request her to deliver a memorial speech about World Theatre and Mother Art. Madam.
Dear honorable guests, dear community of Rangasena, and dear audience, I would like to say something from a specific point of view because I'm a performance artist. I'm not an actor. I am a president of Just Body Lab, and my lab is I am working in my lab with myself and with my students on body and on nature, yes, and our relationship with nature. So I would like to tell something about from specific point of view as a performance artist about our reality and about body. So today we find ourselves in a bizarre situation. The famous quote of Andy Warhol, "In the future, everyone will be famous for 15 minutes," which he made in 1968, has now come true. The mass media and advertising business connected with it have effectively made this so. The art market and so-called the personality market goes step by step with entertainment its show business. We are living in a time of celebrities, in which people are famous for being famous. Culture is focused on the image. Not human faces speak and look at us from monitors and screens, but people in masks. Exerting an impression on others is both an end and a means to an end. In pursuit of success, feelings do not count. Emotions should be kept in check or created on request. We found ourselves in a rather grim situation, and its implications run deep. Culture becomes poorer due to progressive cut off from human feelings. Body, with all their primordial wealth of feelings, suffer on exile. Feelings and the ability to feel testify to our belonging to the natural world. We feel pain and pleasure just as animals do, and we are afraid of death just as they are. We are connected to the environment in which we live, and so are they. If the environment disappoints us, we feel discomfort and anxiety. Civilization, its cultural codes, and technology gradually cuts us from the body and its natural roots. It pushes us into the corset of standards, thus ignoring the real needs of the body. Besides food and sleep, the body needs a space of freedom. The body needs relax, the sweetness of doing nothing. It needs to play and have fun, and enjoying letting imagination run wild. The senses belong to the realm of feelings and anesthesia. The sense of sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell. In a healthy person, sharpening the senses results in stimulation of vitality. The same happens with wild animals and even our domesticated ones. The senses, just like feelings, are our natural heritage. I believe that people who stay in touch with their body, affection, and sensuality are sentient beings in the full sense of the word. Unfortunately, many consider such people to be not quite civilized, bizarre in a sense, or even primitive. We are today experiencing a totally insane and sophisticated hyperstimulation, especially of eyesight and hearing, which previous generations couldn't even have dreamed about. Both in public spaces and at home, we watch the endless, super attractive mega images of the human body and objects. The noise and media house surrounds us at almost every step. The amount of images, words, and sounds that we need to process, not only mentally, but above all emotionally, is truly overwhelming. No wonder that in such a reality, human beings gradually lose sensory sensitivity and even cut themselves off from deeper feelings. I believe that the way a person treats his own body shows her relationship to nature and the environment. Treating the body instrumentally as a tool to meet someone's expectations reflects the exploitative attitude of human to the natural world. Conversely, the care and respect shown to the natural needs of the body express par excellence respect for nature. We are all immersed in the culture of our time, but in the end, it depends on us whether we will swim with the mainstream or we go against the current. For a long time, I have had a habit to sit in front of the mirror, looking deeply into my own eyes and asking, who am I? Where I am going? I've been exploring the body in the domain of performance art for over 20 years. I lead people out of the dark valley of fear of their own bodies. I know how severe the censorship of the body and feelings can be. Regardless of who exercise it, religion, politics, or our own ego. I lead workshops for young adepts of performance art, and I can see how difficult it is to be young in the era of celebrity cult. They are under the pressure of fashionable trends and stereotypes that they don't really like, but they don't know how to escape from. Eventually, before they know it, they are kidnapped by the mainstream trends. Then they find themselves carried along by a wave of easy reality and the pursuit of distinctive personal image. Making impression on others is a tempting proposition for the artist, and dreams of recognition and fame are huge in youth. These dreams are not subject to discussion. However, what can be done so as not to destroy such dreams prematurely and not allow them to be consumed in the flame of 15 minutes of empty fame? Well, it is necessary to develop your own craft, which was called in ancient times the flower of craft. I really like the approach of Jerzy Grotowski, who, referring to the Japanese master Zeami, said that the performer, in his flower of youth, should use his strength and vitality to create a flower of the craft. And that before the flower of youth withers, it should have a flower of mastery in its hands. However strange or too much archaic these words sounds today, they need to be seriously thought over. As human beings, we are part of nature, no matter how cultural and civilized we are. Sooner or later, nature stands up for its rights. If we ignore nature, both individually and collectively, we will experience its effects in the form of diseases, epidemics, and natural disasters. Man should no longer be the Lord of all creation, but a caring protector of nature, responsible for its well-being and survival. But for that to happen, each of us must first awaken the awareness of your body. Go back and turn to the sources of natural wisdom between you and to the natural world. Her generosity of the nature and healing ability of the nature are unimaginable. Anna Halprin, an American dancer and choreographer who has recently passed away, said, I believe if more of us could contact the natural world in a directly experiential way, this would alter the way we treat our environment, ourselves, and one another. Today, I see an extraordinary opportunity for the performance artist. Art and creation hate a vacuum. To create, you need the resistance of reality. This can motivate us to persistently work on ourselves and overcome the cultural limitations relating to the body and nature. Each of us, born from the body of our personal mother, every moment lived in harmony with your own body is a precious gift to our universal mother, planet Earth. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Justyna, madam. It's really a pleasant memorial speech. We will, thanks to you again. It's true, really, we are in a situation where we need to be more close to nature, and that's why we auditorium are closed. So somehow the open air will be open for the theater artists, the theater or performing artists everywhere, close to the nature. Uh, that's true. Uh, with the permission of other chief guests, I want to say a few words. That is that the entire world is suffering, including India. We are away from stage and auditorium due to lockdown. Financially, several artists are suffering, and more than that, it's several are not mentally so well. Rangasena does run a social initiative, মানুষের কাছে মানুষের পাশে. Let's see a short view about it.
Sangachadvam Sangbadadvam Sangvo Manansi Janata Samano Mantra Samiti Samani Samanang Mana Sahachita Mesha Sangachadvam Sangbadadvam Sangvumanansi Janata Samani Vayakuti Samana Hridayaniva.
Thank you. Now we will request to our main chief guest, Sri Probir Guha, eminent theatre personality of India, director of Alternative Living Theatre, Madhyagram, Kolkata. He is also a President's Awardee, Sangeet Natak Academy, a prestigious award of Government of West Bengal, Government of India. Sorry, pardon me. So I would request Sir Sri Probir Guha to say a few words about Rangasena, and next I would request him to deliver his memorial speech on world theatre and human rights. So,
Okay, good evening, everybody. All dear comrades of theatre communities, my heartfelt thanks first goes to Dhrupad and Rangasena for arranging this kind of web seminar in this time, in this horrible time. So, while I was listening, Mr. Marco and Justyna, I was. Can you hear me, please? Just nod, raise your hand so that I
completely, sir.
understand that you can hear. Okay. So I
Okay,
was just while I was hearing the lecture of Mr. Marco and Miss Justyna, I was feeling bit nostalgic, because though I had not been in Italy, but I did work with a lot of Italian theater goers, big theater personalities, especially the Eugenio Barba. Though he is not staying at Italy now, he is now in Denmark, Holstebro. And while I was listening, Justyna, I envy you, Justyna, that you live in Poland. I had been there for 5 months, and I was working with Grotowski, and I was staying at Wrocław.
Yeah, great.
And you mentioned two people's name that Grotowski and Anna Holprin. I did work with them. So I was feeling a bit nostalgic for a whole thing. Anyway, I welcome you in our lecture, and I'm very much grateful to you for three person. I can see Marco, Justyna, and Manna. All you are here uh, to deliver your important speech. To say about me or my theater, I can say that I do my the name of my group is Alternative Living Theater. So from the name you can understand what kind of theater we preach or what we are trying to say. We are not the mainstream theater. We are trying to find the kind of process. We are not for the product, but the process we are looking for. That is the alternative process, which could be in front. Uh, in this catastrophe, this web seminar is very important for everybody, I think, so that we can think over the whole situation and can be very much optimistic in our thinking process. This is not the first time we are observing this catastrophe in world. Whenever there is any kind of horrendous catastrophe in this world, that changes the course of public life always. And the obvious next tremor is a change in our social system, in our behavior, in our cultural practice. We constantly change because theater is involved with people's lives. So it has had to change according to the situation. After any kind of pandemic, or mind it the plague, flu, flood, war, state revolution, the industrial revolution, everything, every time it did challenges theater's progress. What should do theater now after this thing? But all the problems were beautifully, rightly addressed critically in theater. Theater accepted the whole challenge. It changed its course accordingly. The current extremes for the theater, it's a completely threat. We are thinking this is the second time India is facing lockdown problem. First time we are just started, we got started. What to do now? But the second time when it is happening, we are confirmed this will we overcome and we will find our own way how to challenge, how to confront this challenge. And these changes, whatever the theater thinks about the changes after the pandemic, it always leads to the society forward. Because there are few people in the theater who can foresee the situation, what might happen in future. So these farsighted people, they plan with the reality of the future in mind. Because theater is the mirror of life. So plays are based on what is happening around us or according to their own philosophy in how they want to present their say. And maybe sometimes they choose some plays from the which is already pre-written. But whatever they think, they have their mind with this theme and with this procedure, we are going to challenge this situation and to create something positive way for our theater. But the problem here lies, at least as an Indian, what I feel, the problem lies here. We know what to say. The problem lies in how to say. Because the British people who taught us before 200 years back the way of doing theater, we started just imitating all those things. Still now, imitation doesn't create any art, I don't believe. So we have our lot of thinkings. In West, you have some kind of advantage. You have seen Stanislavski in 40s, and after Stanislavski, there are a lot of people, lot of important theater people. They came and they started thinking over it. We had our own forms. I believe the theater is very much a regional thing. It's a region specific, it's culture specific, it's food habit specific, it's environment specific. So if we don't understand our cultural root, we cannot really create a proper theater which can communicate with the people. So we are in search of our own cultural root. Uh, we had lot of things, lot of forms. Still, we have many forms, but especially the kirtan, dhop, panchali, jatra, especially the jatra. If it it would have been our own route for the theater, we could have more success. Anyway, the theater geniuses, as they came in West, after Stanislavski, we have seen Meyerhold, Brecht, Grotowski. There are many people. I can't even count the names. But in contrary, in our country, we have not seen all those things. And we have no that kind of massacre also in our country. Only the famine in 40s, it was the great massacre for the Indian people. In that, after that famine, some progressive people came forward and they formed a theater group. It's not group, it's a movement. They called as Indian People's Theater, IPTA, Theater Activities Movement. So this IPTA movement, initially, it started very strongly, very revolutionarily, but after 2 years, it lost their own way. And they have mostly they have started copying the same British theater. So we have very less people who are really searching on this line in a new way. We had seen in our state, in Bengal, we had seen in 70s Badal Sarkar. He created a different movement called Third Theatre Movement. It's not very much indigenous, I won't say, but it was a try to jump from the current situation to another direction. So I owe to Badulda for that. After Badulda, there is a movement in our country and also in Bangladesh. I have seen that some different kind of theater movements has started coming up. Those are very important, I think. This is the duties of the theater and what we should do. This is the actual scenario of the theater of India, what we are doing now. So there are many theaters we are doing, many theater groups, many theater productions. but very less in the right communication for the people. Most because I believe that theater is not the commodities who can you can market it in market. It's not possible. It's a different thing. We don't entertain people here. We want to give some message. These messages are very strong. It can break your head. My say is, if you have a scare in your body, I don't want to put any cream on that. Rather, I will ask to put some salt and rub it so that it burns. The burning continues. So that should be our theater, I believe, because I am a very political person. I see everything very politically. So my theater, I am working for those kind of theater should come out in our country. And if we talk about the human values, uh, that the conflicts is there, the slavery, we have seen slavery since the earliest times of civilization. It was going on, and that slavery still exists in all over the world in different forms, different ways, in different cunning disguises. And these conflicts in other way is a humiliation of mankind, which have been manifested in time-winning dramas forever, in Purana, in sub-Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Shakespeare, Kalidas, Rabindranath, all spoke about this violation of human rights and its protests. So, when theater, when I think that when humanity is insulted, theater immediately takes its side on behalf of the humankind, on behalf of the poor people. They raise their voice. So two things are very important now for us. One is, after this pandemic, how we will go for our theater. Should it be the same old one in the small proscenium or the big proscenium hall, and the same storyline, same script writing, same acting style, or we should think very differently, which should be based on our Indian root based? What should we do? This is one thing. And second thing, whenever we do theater, it is always against of any kind of humiliation, or in favor of human rights. So if my theater is afraid of confronting the situation, what is going on, if we can't speak against our ruling parties or ruling groups or dominating forces, bourgeoisie forces, then doing theater has no meaning for me. Maybe that's a kind of another performance, but I won't call them as the theater for the people. This is short. I have not written anything. Just whatever came in my mind, I just told you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rangasena.
Thank you, Sri Guru Probir Guha. It's really an very body-warming speech, which gives us the younger some really kind of motivation for the real theater, actually meaningful theater. So here we are. We are gradually at the ending of the ceremony. We would request our eminent chief guest, Sri Thosaddeque Hossain Manna, International Secretary, Central Committee, Bangladesh Pathonatok Porishad, Dhaka, Bangladesh. We will request Sri Manna to say a few words and then to deliver his memorial speech, World Theatre and Cultural Harmony. Sri Manna.
Thank you very much, Mr. Debabrata. Today, really, I am very much now very much shocking because Mr. Probir Guha, the total speech in theater, human harmony, all over world theater. A very beautiful explain. So I am just student in Probir Guha and others guys. I am also only younger guys today's is the seminar and opening ceremony. However, just today actually I am till work theater is learning from my younger and my elder, all of these people. Till I am the as a learner. So first, all of I would like to extend it in my best wishes of to all of the people of Nohati Rangasena for giving me a chance to say something from Bangladesh in second online festival, fifth Rangasena Utsav 2021 and 22 organized by them. Before I am starting my speech, I first pay a thousand of respect to those who died in two Bengalis after being attacked by Corona. My speech, the world theater and culture harmony. Actually, world theater is a big topic. Till I'm firstly say world theater. I'm learning my younger and elders people. So I am today. I'm saying the cultural harmony in pandemic situation. Uh, what is the theater what is the cultural harmony? The cultural harmony is the something that is the content of the people of different background. It's the terms of social behavior, religion, knowledge, and language. So at this pandemic situation, the cultural harmony is a very important things. I'm however, I'm saying this documentary, this is speech, our content, India and Bangladesh. But what we're saying in pandemic in this time, we see inconstant people being killed in Palestine, not even children, but the theater has always done dramas against oppression of women and children and will continue to do us in the future. If we look if we look at India and Bangladesh, then in pandemic, on the one hand, election and others going on. On the other hand, there is a financial crisis of the human beings, lack of food for animals. So ordinary people have been taken to street in search of work. But but the capitalist or industrialist are taking millions of money from the government in the name of the incentive. On the other hand, we grow behind the theater. In theater is in extreme distress because the theater is closed, while cultural worker, theater worker, could not sit still during this pandemic. They are not wondering whether they can eat on their own. The culture, cultural worker, theater worker of West Bengal in India, Bangladesh, where still this side of hungry people from the very beginning of pandemic. বাংলাদেশ পথনাটক পরিষদ, সম্মিলিত সাংস্কৃতিক জোট, বাংলাদেশ গ্রুপ থিয়েটার ফেডারেশন are same. Some of the theater relatives, many cultural activities have stood by people by driving rickshaw and selling the vegetables. The play, the cultural worker collaborating with the damage the behind the scenes crew of various way, no businessman. Where is the harmony, cultural harmony or harmony? The cooperation of the government should be further increased in this case of drama. সম্মিলিত সাংস্কৃতিক জোট have been providing food to the innocent monkey for the last few days. Did the world theatre sit in this pandemic? No. At this arguing the cultural harmony, the theatre worker started using scenes as an online theatre workshop, seminar, roof theatre. On the other new theatre is wave theatre, or somebody say the online theatre. Although there is a lot of debate about there, we should call wave theatre is a theatre or not. I'm not going to this way. I'm not going to this way, wave theatre or not. But the thing is, the theatre is not sitting, was not, and will not be. However, whenever there is the crisis, the state, the society, in the world, the theatre has worked and is working from its a cultural harmony. Today, all of the people of the world have become Amol, the character of Ravi Thakur, post office drama, but Daghor drama. Amal was waiting for king's letter and were waiting for vaccine. Ravi Thakur informed us the today's position 1942, but we did not understand. Finally, we'd like to think that the Nohati Rangasena organized this festival. Thank you very much. And this is the harmony, cultural harmony.
Thank you. Thank you, Sri Manna. Actually, we missed our special guest, Srimati Irene Borges, Directoria Artística y Espacio Teatral at Centro de la Habana, Cuba. She is also president of Institute International, Cuba. We will request for network issue. She couldn't join with us. We will request her to send her memorial speech in video format, and we will share it. We really miss her. So time is going to 1 hour. We are past. We couldn't imagine. So thank you everyone for those excellent speeches. We are glad that all you have attended our inauguration ceremony and made it so successful. We wish you all a very healthy and wealthy lives ahead. So Rangasena requests to all of you to enjoy the festival on Facebook and YouTube from today onwards. Be with us. Now,
Dhrupad,
with the permission. Yes, sure, sir. Sure, sir.
I have a very small request. These special guests who are here.
He is here. We are lucky now.
Oh, Irene is here. So we can hear Irene. Okay.
Namaskar, Pranam.
Yes.
Okay. We would request our special guest, Srimati Irene Borges, Directoria Artística de Espacio Teatral Alaba at Centro de Teatro de la Habana, Cuba. She is also president of Institute International, Cuba. Due to network issues, we couldn't get you. So we are lucky enough you have ultimately joined with us. We would request. So you can deliver your memorial speech on world theatre and world peace. Central de la Havana, Cuba. He is also president of Institute International, Cuba. Due to network issues, we couldn't get you. So we are lucky enough you have ultimately joined with us. on World Theatre and World Peace.
Es un honor para mí estar presente como invitada especial de la ceremonia. ¿Me escuchan? Es un honor para mí estar presente como invitada especial de la ceremonia de inauguración para representar a Cuba y al Caribe en este valioso encuentro con artistas. Hablar hoy sobre teatro y la paz mundial se convierte en un discurso urgente para el artista contemporáneo. Es una responsabilidad que no podemos posponer. Agradezco a los organizadores del festival que hayan creado una ceremonia de apertura donde sea posible que los artistas podamos hablar sobre la madre tierra, los derechos humanos, la armonía cultural y la paz. Como directora artística y general de la agrupación Teatro Aldaba, he dirigido mi obra a diferentes públicos, pero desde el año 2019 asumo la responsabilidad como presidenta del Centro Cubano de la CITE. La CITE es una asociación internacional de artes escénicas para la infancia y la juventud. Tiene como misión unir teatros, agrupaciones, organizaciones para lograr el intercambio y la superación, y está dedicada a los derechos artísticos, culturales y educacionales de la infancia y la juventud. Defiende el arte en nombre de todos los niños y jóvenes, sin importar nacionalidad, identidad cultural, capacidad, género, orientación sexual, etnicidad o religión. En estos momentos hay alrededor de 100 países dentro de CEST International. Ser representante en mi país de una asociación que defiende los derechos de los más jóvenes a recibir arte y vivir en el año 2021 frente a una crisis mundial, donde todos debemos unirnos para lograr un desarrollo sostenible, me ha conducido como artista y como activista cultural a concientizar sobre la importancia que puede tener hoy el teatro para niños en la protección de las artes del futuro y en el desarrollo de un hombre mejor. Sabemos que el teatro crea directamente la comunicación entre los hombres y es una herramienta poderosa para engendrar valores positivos en la sociedad. El teatro para niños y jóvenes se hace extremadamente necesario en situaciones con las que atravesamos hoy, en un mundo que se levantará en las ruinas del COVID-19 y que padecerá las secuelas que traerá para la familia el aislamiento y las pérdidas, la separación de los niños al juego y al aprendizaje cotidiano, y el temor permanente a la enfermedad. Desarrollar un programa de promoción teatral para el disfrute y el aprendizaje de los más jóvenes será fuente de salvación, motivo de liberación y reafirmación a través del arte. Hoy más que nunca es necesario que niños y jóvenes logren empoderarse a través del teatro, viviendo una experiencia artística que le permita adquirir aprendizaje emocional e intelectual, la capacidad de lograr conflictos de forma colectiva, de generar creatividad y apreciación artística. Es urgente generar en los más jóvenes la conciencia de su responsabilidad en la formación de una mejor sociedad que defienda valores de paz, que proteja el medio ambiente, la paz, que genere estrategias para un desarrollo sostenible. Y el teatro es un medio eficaz para lograrlo. El teatro es una alternativa pedagógica para fomentar la cultura de paz en el aula, una herramienta educativa para el desarrollo personal y social. El teatro brinda en la escuela enormes posibilidades para formar en la paz y en la convivencia por medio de un aprendizaje vivencial. Es muy importante asegurarnos, todos los teatristas del mundo, que el teatro sea valorado y reconocido en los medios de enseñanza. Necesitamos crear estructuras de promoción a nivel mundial para motivar a los niños y jóvenes a participar del teatro, conociendo el patrimonio teatral de nuestras naciones y viviendo cómo a través del arte se genera la fraternidad en los pueblos. Como artista y como madre, me siento muy feliz de vivir en un país como Cuba, patrocinador de amor y de paz. Cuba lo evidencia a través de muchos ejemplos de solidaridad internacional y de protección a sus niños y jóvenes. Y una evidencia es cómo en Cuba se protege mucho el teatro para niños y jóvenes. El teatro cubano cuenta con su sección teatral estatal y su desarrollo y consolidación es el resultado de una fuerte tradición y protección que asegura la permanencia y el desarrollo del teatro, no solo dentro de la sala teatral, sino también en lo más recóndito de una montaña. A pesar de duros años de crisis económica y sanitaria y sometida a un bloqueo económico muy cruel por Estados Unidos hacia Cuba, Cuba acepta ser anfitriona del 21 Congreso Mundial de la CITES, Voces de un Mundo Nuevo, a desarrollarse en el año 2024, donde miles de artistas y profesionales e investigadores se darán cita para juntos poder pensar en el teatro que necesitan los niños y jóvenes de hoy, y cómo desde nuestras obras y acciones como creadores podemos colaborar con la humanidad. Tenemos la esperanza que para el 2024 la humanidad logre vencer esta pandemia y que las voces de un mundo nuevo puedan escucharse en el Congreso desarrollado en La Habana. Este Congreso posibilitará el encuentro del teatro para niños y jóvenes de toda América y el Caribe con el resto del planeta y será fuente de inspiración entre los continentes. Nuestro 21 Congreso Mundial de la CITES en La Habana demuestra, al igual que este festival, que este encuentro que estamos haciendo, cómo los artistas podemos unirnos y hablar en nombre de la paz desde las artes. Creo que a nivel mundial debemos luchar para depositar más valor e igualdad de reconocimiento a creadores e instructores de teatro para niños. Crear estrategias y un mayor compromiso para que las jóvenes audiencias reciban un teatro de calidad, que los forme estéticamente e intelectualmente y los empodere con la responsabilidad que tienen como seres humanos dentro de la sociedad que viven. Debemos luchar por la promoción de un teatro que llegue a la mayor cantidad de familias del mundo, promoviendo una cultura de paz y hermandad y asegurando la formación de la sensibilidad de los hombres y las mujeres del mañana. Si cada día trabajamos un poco en esto, podemos lograrlo y podemos confiar en un futuro mejor. Crear, defender y proteger con más responsabilidad que nunca los caminos que tributan a través del arte a la creación de un mundo mejor, donde la igualdad, el respeto a todos y la responsabilidad en la protección del medio ambiente y de la paz sean los pilares fundamentales para construirlo, se hace urgente y necesario. Los artistas somos fundamentales para lograrlo. Y es muy importante que nos unamos y poder ayudar y patrocinar el teatro para los niños, que es el teatro de los hombres que construirán el futuro del mañana, el futuro de nuestro teatro. Entonces, muchas gracias una vez más y les envío desde Cuba un fraternal abrazo, un abrazo de amor y solidaridad.
Gracias, thank you so much again.
Gracias a
We will
ustedes.
now end this ceremony. Now, with the permission of all the chief guests and special guests, we would like to end up the ceremony to the World Theatre Note of 2020 given by the eminent theatre activist and actor, Srimati Helen Mirren, UK. She contributed her words on the noble occasion of World Theatre Day 2021. We are thankful to the Court International Theatre Institute. Through this speech, we will end this ceremony. So here is the speech, and bye-bye everyone. Take care. We'll be in touch through the
theatre always comes, always.
So here is the speech, and bye-bye everyone. Take care. We'll be.
The theatre is a community all over the world, isn't it? I mean, the whole history of theatre and the need for theatre in human culture has always been present. And this was something I discovered many years ago. I had the opportunity to work with Peter Brook, who is the great, British theatre director. And we worked in Africa trying to find a common theatrical language that was above language, above culture, above history, but was the simple communication of story from a performer to an audience. And, that relationship has been with us for thousands of years and all over the world in different manifestations. I think of the theatre community as being a tribe, really, a tribe that is all over the planet, one tribe, and although maybe we speak different languages and we come from different understandings of life and obviously different histories, we have this common attachment to each other, which is the desire to perform, to tell a story, to excite an audience, to entertain an audience, to move an audience. It's a universal thing. So I think in that sense, the theatre community is connected all over the world. And, and not forgetting the architecture of theatre, the actual theatres themselves, the building, which I always find such a moving space and such a evocative and poetic space. Very recently, I went into the theatre in Lecce. There is a beautiful theatre in Lecce, an empty theatre, and no one was performing. But you have the spirit and the feeling of all of those performers and the audiences over many, many years, maybe now going into centuries. And I find those spaces such beautiful spaces. And I think we have to remember the people who run those spaces, the people who show you to your seats, the people who take your ticket, the people who work the lights, the people who make the scenery and put the scenery on the stage and take it off the stage, and all of those other participants in theatre that are so important to the continuation of theatre, of an audience going into a building, the curtain going up or the lights coming up, and a performance starting in front of them. And all of the arts and the artisans and the craftsmen and women who go into creating that moment are so very important in our culture. And of course, that's what it's all about, is that communal experience, isn't it? I have been in a theatre where there's only 5 people in the audience, not a very successful play. I've done a play where there's only 5 people in the audience, also not a very successful play. And of course it can happen, but it's the sense of a communal experience of something, of laughing together, of crying together, of being shocked together, of being moved together, that is so very extraordinary in the theatre. And yes, of course, we have to bring people back to the theatre. Obviously, for the last year, all of those people have been suffering and struggling, including the dancers, the singers, the opera singers, the musicians. All of those performers have been really, really struggling. And I think we have to make sure that, that they are precious to us. It takes a long time to become a great musician or a great dancer. And we can't lose them, so we have to make sure that they can continue and they will continue, but also that they can survive before they can get back to work. You can't stop artists. They can't stop. They're driven from within. It's impossible to stop. And what has been sort of extraordinary is to see the creativity of what people have been doing and how the ways they've found, without being paid, but the ways they've found to communicate their art through the internet. Thank heavens that we have this technology. But you've seen dancers dancing in the streets, to musicians playing on balconies here in Italy. That was a very beautiful thing to see. Recently, I saw a musician playing his piano to the zoos to the animals in the zoo, because the animals in the zoo have been without their audience, without people, so they've sort of wondered where have all the people gone, and this man went to play his piano to the animals and they loved it. They responded. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So yes, artists have been very generous and very creative. That's very interesting. Yes, I can imagine, because again, that sense of community and shared humanity, isn't it? It's about shared humanity, about the way that we all have tragedy and comedy in our lives, cruelty and love, and there is an absolute common humanity, and that is what's obviously is so terrible about war, is it dehumanizes the enemy. The enemy of necessity has to be dehumanized, because otherwise you couldn't kill them the way you think you have to. Well, the theatre always survives because it's natural and organic, and there will always be young people who want to do theatre, who want to perform. Always, I really believe this, because it has happened for thousands of years, and through wars and through pandemics and through drought and through disaster and through all kinds of the endless problems that humanity has to face, theatre always comes, always. So, I'm an absolute believer in that. We go through hardship and difficulty, but it always comes back. Hi.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.